So we're currently in the shed. We are actually live. And I'm going to give a bit of an update as to Sleepy 6 and what's going on. And I also have some questions that people have asked, so let's answer those. This will probably end up as an episode a bit later on, but I figure if I do it live, I have no excuse because I haven't put it up yet. I've filmed it about 3 times. Anyways, first one is, me mate Robbie asks, it's such a massive project. What's your favourite thing about Sleepy 6? And the favourite mod or something like that. Now, the biggest thing is probably the barra swap. Yeah, I love the barra. It's an absolutely awesome engine. It is delicate when you rebuild it, but yeah, we're having issues, but we're getting through them. Workmate says, can I get fries with that? No, I don't work at Macca's. You know that. Corey O'Mara says, could you update with what we did with the little vacuum control switch? All right, let me show you. We go through up under the car here. So up, yeah, there is that blue vacuum line that you can sort of see there. Now, that blue vacuum line actually runs into the manifold. So to show you properly, if I can see myself, it pretty much, there's a T-piece, the 2 big vacuum lines that come out of the car go into the T-piece, which go into the blue line, which then goes into a one-way filter or a check valve, which then goes to the manifold, which hopefully you guys can see. It's just up there behind the aircon line. But I can update that a bit later on anyways. There's also a fly buzzing around me. I must smell. Anyways, let's move on. Johnny HCF says, you're doing an incredible job. Don't let anyone or anything get you down. Thank you very much, mate. I really appreciate it. And on another episode, on my first episode, Greg Isles says, another EL XR6 destroyed. Well, you know, you got to be in it to win it. It's not your EL. It's a shame. Anyways, so what is going on with Sleepy 6? What's taken so long? Why is the bonnet still on the roof? Why is the engine still next to me in 1,000 pieces? Now, let me run you through the story. So we got it all up and running. I had it driving. This fly is driving me nuts. Had it driving, but after the engine got hot or got warm, it started stalling. It didn't want to run properly. It was doing all sorts of stupid shit, and I had no clue what was going on. It is the same issue that we experienced when it went to the dyno for the run-in. Same problem, and he didn't know what was going on. So turns out I was losing oil pressure, and because of my oil pressure issues, everything else started going downhill from there. I'll put a photo up on the socials later, but pretty much because of my low oil pressure issues, the brand new camshafts that were in the engine when I rebuilt it are now destroyed. The head was destroyed, and a few other things. I found my inherent oil leak that was an absolute pain in the ass. I can show you that now, because if we look at the sump here, that gasket doesn't quite look right. It's because it got blown the hell out. So I stuffed up when I rebuilt it and did everything else. I made a few mistakes. Now, I don't know exactly what caused my oil pressure issues. I'm still yet to diagnose that and find out. There's several things it could have been. So that's all I can really say on that as far as that goes. But the leak here, that was one of 2 problems, or 2 of 2 problems actually. First of all, my buddy Ryan, he welded up the intake for me. He did an absolutely fantastic job. And he goes, don't forget to drill that breather hole. And guess who put the car back together and forgot to drill the freaking breather hole? So, yeah, however much crankcase pressure was in there, I have no idea. But it blew the gasket up and out into the one weak spot. Second problem is, because I've changed the dipstick from the front to the back, from the back to the front, because I went from an FG bottom end or FG sump to a B series, the dipstick is then moved to the front. So the empty dipstick hole goes straight over the sump gasket, and that wasn't very good. So that decided that it would just blow the gasket through there, pour oil out the side of the block. That ran back down the sump on the side. So it didn't pour down the side of the sump, it just ran down the back into the bell housing area and made me think I kept blowing out the rear main. But it wasn't that, it was that gasket. Now, what's happening for like now that we're up to date, I've just got the head back. I'm on my third head now. I had the original turbo head that was rebuilt. That got, completely reconditioned, rebuilt, all new bells and whistles. And because that lynched itself when I ran out of oil pressure, I bought a whole nother donor motor, which is down there somewhere. And it's a green top. It was an LPG with 280,000 Ks on it. Unfortunately, the head on that was cactus as well, because gas doesn't have any lubrication properties to it, so the valves had actually eaten into the head. So then enter my buddy Nico. He rocks up and says, "Hey man, I got a head and you can have it for a decent price." So I grabbed that, took it to the machine shop. My mate Woody down at High Flow Engines, thank you very much, mate. He's in Balcatta. If you're local, check him out, get him to do your work. He does amazing work. I would show it off, but I haven't pulled it out the car yet. It's still in the back of my Pajero. Yeah, he had a look at the head, said, yeah, we'll give it a test and see how it goes, and turns out it was good. So he's just completely reconned that, swapped all my valve gear into it. Shout out to Dominator Performance. Thank you very much, Michael. He sent me some cams because my new ones were absolutely destroyed. So Michael sent me, some cams that are in half decent nick. So I'm going to run them. And yeah, let's see where we are now. So if I one hand this, we have the bottom end. All the main bearings are loose. If we have a look in here, the main bearings are pretty flogged. They're not the best, but they're definitely not the worst. But they're not pretty by any means. Like my face, I'm not pretty either. But they're pretty well flogged. So I could rerun them. It's a Barra after all. It would probably last. And this is the first time I'm going live, so I have no idea. Oh yeah, Neil, I can't remember what you said. Drop it back in another comment. I can't remember what you said. But it was something dumb. So new bearings are on their way. I'm going oversized bearings because I was running 3 thou main clearance, which is a possibility of why I had low oil pressure. So I'm going to bring that back to Ford spec, which is 2 thou. So yeah, thank you very much to Mez at barrowtheworld.com. Oh yeah, Neil, no, I don't like men. Oh, only you. So yeah, that's that question answered. I forgot about that one. Mez at barrowtheworld.com. They're hooking me up with some bearings and a Cometic MLS head gasket because I don't fancy reusing an MLS head gasket or any for that matter. I'll just replace it, do it right. Otherwise, I'm going to stress about it for the next 6 months and overthink it. The trans seems to be okay. It got hot once or twice while I was driving around because I had to dual foot it everywhere. But that seems like it's going to be all right. Hopefully I don't have to put a new front seal in it because the converter's still sitting in there. The bottom end is salvageable, I think. I'm not going to pull a rod bearing. Reuse live on the edge. I don't know. Live on the edge. Anyways, I don't know what you're on about, Neil. Message me later. So the bottom end is going to get new bearings and the top end seems okay. The bores seem all fine. So I'm assuming the rings are fine. I'm not going to check the rod bolts because it's just hemorrhaging money with this thing. So if I check the rod bolts, I'm up for at least another couple of $100 just for new rod bolts because they are stretch bolts and I don't want to reuse them because I'd be the person that they bite in the ass and would break. So, and then you go down a rabbit hole. If you're going to do rod bolts, you may as well spend an extra couple of $100 and put new rods in it. And then you need more machining and all sorts of stuff. It just snowballs from there. So bottom end's staying how it is, except for new bearings. That's going to go back together. I'm going to put some epoxy or some putty in the dipstick hole just to give the gasket some surface to push up against and not try and blow its ass out. Even though I have drilled the intake now, because that was one of the main issues. Now, yeah, parts are all over the floor. So we've got intake manifold down there, turbos down here, the pulsar core, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I was hoping to be able to start putting everything back together this weekend, but it's not going to happen. I have a pretty solid Saturday coming up, and I'm probably going to be recovering Sunday. Yeah, so hopefully in another couple of weeks I'll be able to start putting some more time into this thing. My engineering has been extended. I had another year added to it, approval in principle. So yeah, that's taken a hell of a lot off me as far as stressing out, making sure I'm going to get to the deadline. One big major hurdle with this thing was just as I was getting the car ready for engineering, hell broke loose. My old man's car, his Rodeo, the engine shat to bed. So I literally spent about a month just swapping that engine over and figuring shit out. Mental health is always a big thing. I don't know, I've suffered from mental health issues before and probably still will for a long time. But moving through it, one day at a time, it gets better. So that's been giving me mood swings and all sorts of shit. But yeah, this thing is a pain in the ass. I love it to bits, but it takes its toll working full time, all the rest of the other stuff. Project cars. Yeah, everything else is going to go back together on the engine and we'll run it as it is. I don't think I have any other big plans for it now, apart from putting it back together and getting it running. Yeah, the shed's just full of shit. We've also, in the recent couple of weeks, emptied out a auntie's father's workshop because he can't work on his own things anymore and they're selling up. So yeah, I've inherited a hell of a lot of stuff and now I need to find room for it. So my mezzanine up there, I've spent a couple of days cleaning it, but there's still a hell of a lot more to go up there. And, well, I suppose one big thing in the new year will be I'm making a complete new mezzanine. So hopefully above my head right now, about here somewhere, will soon be mezzanine. So I'll lose a bit of height in the shed, but I'll gain a hell of a lot of storage. And yeah, actually have room to work, because at the moment, if we go over here, we got bloody 2 sets of cams, an engine crane, all sorts of other random stuff. The welder, I'm going to make a new stand for that as well, and just clean everything up. I can't wait to get the car down and out of here and into the garage, so then I can have more shed space. I can be able to pull everything down, clean it all up, and go from there. But yeah, I was literally just at Hoodies before because, you know, ADHD or whatever it is, I can't keep track of one thing at a time. Just at Hoodies before at High Flow and got the head back, so I'm really super excited about that because that was another couple of weeks of sorting that out. Yeah, head's back. Now I can actually start putting it back together as soon as the bearings and head gasket rock up. Once that's done, I can slap it all back together and start getting it ready to put in the Falcon and get it back on the road. Another thing I suppose it's pretty important to mention is, if we look down here, this baby right here, this one. It's a 1,000 plus horsepower rated oil pump. Cost me a very pretty penny, and that's just one single piece. I've also got metal shavings all through the sump. So there's metally goodness in there. So I've got to clean all that out. So that's on the to-do list. And I'm going to try and blow out all the ports on the engine as well. All the oil galleries, I'm going to try and clean them all out best I can with some Kero and a spray gun thingy that hooks up to the compressor. Clean out all the metal as much as I can find, and clean the sump out, put a new sump gasket in, put new front main seal in, or front crank seal. Obviously put the pickup on. I'm going to measure the pickup distance between the pickup and the sump this time. It's one thing I'm not doing before. 99% sure it's fine because I had plenty of oil pressure every other time except when the engine was warm. So yeah, I've been working with Rob at Monster Talk, or I've been chatting to him. Thank you very much, mate, for helping me out as well. He's been giving me a bit of guidance. How you going, Mervyn? Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate your support, by the way. Yeah, I've been chatting with Rob at Monster Talk. He is the king of barrows. So hopefully we can get this thing sorted. And when this is back together, I will be taking it to him so he can have a look at it as well. Make sure everything's honky-dory. Because hopefully one day he'll be tuning it and see how much power we can push through it. Yeah. So yeah, just chuck it all back together. Hassan, hopefully I didn't butcher that, says 10 mil gap from pickup sump. Yes, I was hoping it would be about 10 to 15. I've heard that's 10 mils like your minimum area. But yeah, I'm going to do the plasticine test once it's all back together and sump's ready to go back on, and make sure, yeah, we've got plenty of clearance because I don't want to stuff this up again. So yeah, as far as everything else goes, Rob changed the oil for me. He said he put some oil in there that he knows is very good at very high temperatures, and it's bloody expensive. And yeah, I still had oil pressure issues, so that's why we're going down the path of finding out what is going on and replacing suspect components. So yeah, the horsepower junkie oil pump is a physically larger pump. So yeah, it's rated for over 1,000 horsepower, and it's a genuine horsepower junkie, not a cheap knockoff. But being a physically larger pump, it actually will flow more volume as well. So if I do have any other defects laying around that I'm not sure about, that should sort it out. It's kind of a band-aid fix, but it's the best I can do at the time without completely redoing the whole engine. Although I'm kind of almost there anyways. But yeah, sump's going to be done. Everybody asks about the sump mod as well, or I've had quite a few questions about it. It is sort of had the front notched out of it. It was done by, I believe, Nel Gisali Mods. And I got that through a company that nobody talks about anymore because he was doing some dodgy. Bugger off, fly. Nobody likes you. Yeah, so that happened. That's another story for another day. Oh, fly. Anyways, you hear him hit the toolbox? That's good. Yeah, so everything else is going to go back together. Turbo is going to stay as it is until after it's all running and dynoed and engineered, and then I will be putting a bigger turbo on it. So stay tuned for that, of course. Underneath the car is still looking pretty, but also I need to address, I had a driveline vibration when I drove it, and I'm pretty sure the tail shaft is out of whack. So I now have somewhere in my arsenal of tools an inclinometer. So now I can actually set the drive shaft properly. Spoolie boost. Yeah, it's gonna spool, Mervyn. It's gonna spool, mate. It sounds so good with the turbo side intake as well. I'm trying to tee it up so that when this is ready, I'm trying to tee it up with a couple of people to have help film so I can get some really good shots of it and actually display the noises that it makes and show how it goes, because it's very hard to do when I'm a solo cameraman. So yeah, I might be paying for that, but you get what you get. Anyways, yeah, all the bits are in the car now. So apart from the bearings and the head gasket, I'll wrap it up now because it's been about 20 minutes. Yeah, bearings and head gasket are on their way, and then I can put it all back together. Hopefully in a week or two, this thing should be back together and in the car. Don't quote me on it because life happens, but hopefully a week or two and it'll be back together. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I appreciate everybody's support, and I appreciate everybody watching who has watched and who will watch, because I'll probably turn this into an episode. And I appreciate people who asked questions. If you have any more, now's the last chance to ask them for the several people watching. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I can't wait to get this thing back on the road. I've been really struggling with motivation lately, but that's the ups and downs. Yeah, you could, I suppose, if you want. You're always welcome here, Neil. You know that. But yeah, and I had a haircut. How cool. Anyways, thank you very much, folks. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all in the next episode. Hopefully, yeah, a week or two, this thing should be back together. I apologize for being quiet on the channel in regards to Sleeper 6, but that's all coming. Yeah, I filmed it like 6 times, and I'm still not happy with it, hence why I'm doing it live. So yeah. Appreciate everybody's help along the way. So Rob, Woody, Mez, Michael, anybody else who's helped out. I appreciate all of you guys. Yeah, it's been a big support. Cheers, guys. We'll see you all a bit later on. Have a good one.